Assalamu alaikum. 601.756. 601.76 is the answer, yeah. Any dollar value is given correctly 2 decimal places. Okay, so 601.76 is the correct answer. 7675, yeah, that's fine. Long time, yeah. बताएं, what's been going on? Did I miss anything? जल्दी आ गया मैं? Okay, do we have any moderators? Okay, we have a moderator. Chalo, that will work. Okay, let's start. That's a good idea. Saad, good idea. Let's start. We don't have a lot of time. Okay. कैसा एग्ज़ाम से एक दिन पहले बिल्कुल मुझे कह रहे हैं स्टार्ट एंड आई एम श्योर पूरा साल टीचर बोलते रहते हैं पढ़ लो तब नहीं पढ़ते. अब जब कल एग्ज़ाम है तो जल्दी हो रही है सबको पढ़ने की. खैर एनीवे सो अच्छा, आई एम नॉट गोना डू अ लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, ऑलराइट. Yes, I know my camera keeps zooming in. It keeps track of me basically. So if I move around, the camera also moves. Anyway, so as I was saying, I'm not going to solve a lot of questions. I'm only going to solve a few questions so that we'll try and end this stream by 7:30 max. Okay. So let's start. Here's a question from May June 2018, paper 2, variant 2. Now, these type of questions are basically those where you're given some information, okay, and step by step using some information, you end up forming a certain equation. Now, sometimes that equation is given to you. You're given what equation you're supposed to form, okay. Sometimes the question will not give you an equation. You need to form the equation yourself, and you need to then solve it and find out whatever it is that you're trying to find that out. Yes, 48k hone wale hain, you're right. So those of you who are watching, if you guys could just like the stream, that would mean a lot. And also, if you're watching and haven't subscribed yet, well, you can do that as well. That would also mean a lot. Okay. Thank you for your duas. My duas are also with you guys always. Now, let's start. So it says on Monday, Ravi goes on a 20-kilometer run. His average speed for the first 12 kilometers is x kilometers per hour. Okay, now mostly these type of questions are dealing with speed, distance, and time. Okay, like this one over here. So we're talking about I was going to say Murray. We're talking about Ravi over here, who goes on a 20 kilometers run. His average speed is 12 kilometers per hour. Write down in terms of x for the time taken for the first 12 kilometers. Give your answer in minutes. So there's a catch in this question, and that is you have to give your answer in minutes. Now, what is time equal to? Time, as we know, is equals to distance upon speed. Okay, why? Because speed equals to distance upon time. So distance is 20. Okay, speed is x. So we can make time the subject, and time will be equal to distance upon speed. All right. So 20 upon x, but don't get carried away and think that this is the final answer. This is not the final answer. You will then multiply this by 60 in order to get the final answer. So 20 into 60 is what? Is equal to 1200, and 1200 upon x is your final answer. So sorry, not 20, actually 12 hoga. Yeah, 12 into 60, because we're talking about the first 12 kilometers. So 720 upon x hoga. Okay, since we're talking about the first 12 kilometers, so it's going to be 12 upon x into 60, which is going to be 720 upon x. ठीक है? Okay. अच्छा देखो, ये वाला part तो आसान था. ठीक है? Let me write this down over here. 720 upon x. Now this part was fairly easy. Let's do part 2 now. Part 2 says his average speed for the final 8 kilometers is 1.5 kilometers per hour slower than for the first 12 kilometers. Now, just remember a couple of terms and remember what they translate into. Okay, and honestly, through that you can solve pretty much all word problem questions. Okay, so remember that the word is usually translates into equals to. The word less, slower, difference, okay, younger when you're dealing with age problems, all these words translate into minus, okay. The word more, faster, and greater, longer, all these words translate into plus, ठीक है, ये याद रखना आपने. Y12, okay, Y12 because it says for the first 12 kilometers, okay, that's why. Now, then, as I was saying, remember that the word of or the word times or the word product, these words usually translate into multiply. And then when it's division, the question will be very explicit about it. There's no such keyword which will tell you that you need to divide. I mean, that you need to use the division sign. The question will be very explicit about it. Okay, so this you can say is like a dictionary of word problems. All right, so you can refer to it. Achha, you can also add elder in plus. Elder. Okay. Yeah. Now, then it says his average speed for the final 8 kilometers. So that means now the distance that he's running is 8 kilometers. Okay. His speed, however, is 1.5 kilometers per hour slower than for the first 12 kilometer. So what was his speed when he was running the first 12 kilometers? It was x. Now if it's 1.5 kilometers per hour slower, that means it's going to be x minus 1.5. Okay. Now, sir, why didn't we multiply x with 60 and not 12 with 60? Okay, so when you're multiplying two fractions, it's numerator with numerator and denominator with two denominator. Okay, this is not a matrix that 60 gets multiplied by both. If you end up multiplying 60 by both, then you know might as well just cancel it and not multiply it by anything at all. All right, 60. Okay, remember this. If you have 3 upon 4 which you're multiplying by 5, so by remember this, that numerator gets multiplied by numerator and denominator gets multiplied by denominator. Okay, कल एग्जाम है ना आप लोगों का? Okay, now, so what about the time over here? The time over here is also going to be equal to distance upon speed, and again in this also you're supposed to give your answer in minutes. Okay. Okay, so what's the distance? The distance we can see is 8, and what's the speed? Speed is x minus 1.5. Again, don't get carried away. Don't forget to multiply it by 60. So 8 into 60 is 480 divided by x minus 1.5. All right, there you go. Okay. Acha, also remember that the word total is also your hint that you need to add them. Okay, and abhi someone mentioned that change also is a word which is your hint that you need to minus. Now, इसका मकसद हरगिज़ ये नहीं है कि अब आप बैठ के इसको रटना शुरू कर दें, ठीक है? This is just to sort of something that you can maybe refer to when you're practicing, or something that we're going to refer to, in fact, when we're solving these questions. Okay. Now, it says here that Ravi takes 110 minutes to complete the full 20 kilometers. Okay. So that means what do we need to find out? We need to find out the total time, and this 110 that you're given, this is actually what? This is actually the total time. Okay. So what are we going to do now? This is what we're going to do. We're going to take the time that he takes to run the first 12 kilometers, which is 720 upon x, and then we're going to take the time which he takes to run the remaining 8 kilometers, which is 480 over x minus 1.5. We're going to add the two, okay, and we're going to add the two and equate it to 110. All right. This is why the question, now ये question पता है काफ़ी अच्छा था, क्योंकि question normally आपको इस तरह से घुमा देता है कि वो पूरा working hours में कराते हैं और end में minutes दे देता है. All right. So this question was very nice in the sense that it made you find out everything in minutes, and in the end also you didn't have to convert anything. It was given to you in minutes only. It was given to you in minutes only. Okay. So we take the LCM, which is going to be x minus 1.5x. Let's do that. The LCM is going to be x into x minus 1.5, x squared into 1.5x, but we can do that in the next step. So this gets multiplied by x minus 1.5, so that is going to be 720x minus, let's see what is 720 into 1.5, that's minus 1080. Okay, this gets multiplied by x, so plus 480x, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 110. How did I get 480? 480 I got by simply multiplying 8 and 60. Okay, 60 से क्यों multiply कर रहे हैं? Read the question. In fact, you answer that question yourself. Read the question and tell me if you find the answer to it. You should if you read it carefully. So 720x plus 480x. Let's figure that out. 720 plus 480, that's equal to 1200x. So 1200x minus 1080 is equals to 110 into x will be x square minus 1.5x. Alright, there you go. Okay, so 1200x minus 1080 is equals to 110x square minus 110 into 1.5, that's equal to 165x. Okay, now let's keep the term with x square as positive. So for that, we'll get everything on the right hand side. So 110x square where it was, minus 165x minus 1200x plus 1080. Now whether I write it as 0 equals to or whether I write this equals to 0, it's the same thing. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. 110x square minus 165 plus 1200, so that's 1365 x plus 1080 equals to 0. Okay, now for a second you might think that it's not correct. Why? Because it's not matching with what it's supposed to match with. But you're wrong. Okay, it is correct. All you have to do is just take 5 common. Okay, so I'm going to take 5 common. So 110 divided by 5 is 22x square minus 273x plus, let's see what is 1080 divided by 5, that's 216 equals to 0. And then what happens to this 5? If you take it across the equals to sign, it gets divided by 0, and when you divide it by 0, what happens? It just becomes 0. So there you go, that's your answer. Okay, now in this part you're not supposed to solve it. Okay, in this part you're just supposed to leave it over here. Now why do you add 1200 but it's minus 1200? Okay, what part are you talking about? Okay, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Just follow the steps, you'll probably find the answer to your question. Dekho, I think your answer is why I'm adding this 1200. I'm taking it across and I'm not actually adding, I'm subtracting it from minus 165. So minus 165 minus 1200 gives us minus 1365. Didn't get the second step. So from this point onwards, it's LCM and cross multiplication. Okay, so x into x minus 1.5 will be the LCM. Then what are you going to do to this x to bring it equal to the LCM? You're going to multiply it by x minus 1.5. So you're going to multiply this by x minus 1.5 as well. And then what is it that the LCM has which this doesn't? It's x. So you're going to multiply this by x. So you're going to multiply this by x as well. Okay. Okay, now part 4. In part 4, you're supposed to solve this equation. So 22x square minus 273x plus 216 equals to 0. Alright. Then you can solve this using the quadratic formula. Now be smart about it. I know a lot of you have this concern that can we use a calculator over here, and the answer is yes, you can use a calculator. It's not like the examiner is going to be constantly standing next to you and making sure that you're not using a calculator. Use a calculator to check your answer, but be smart about it. In fact, even if you're using your calculator to write down the final answer, you can do that as well, but just show some amount of working. Okay, like showing this amount of working is good enough, and now I'm just going to use a calculator and write down the final value. Okay, I don't need to show every bit of simplification up until we get the final answer. That's not necessary. Just plug in the values in the quadratic formula and then write down the final answer. 22 minus 273, 216. Okay, So one value of x that I'm getting, make sure to read the question carefully. It says correct to 2 decimal places. So 11.56. There you go. 11.56 is one value, and the other value is 0.85. So there you go. 11.56 and 0.85 are your two values of x. Okay. Now here's part B. Part B says on Friday, Ravi ran the whole 20 kilometers at an average speed, at the same average speed that he ran the final 8 kilometers. Okay. Calculate the time Ravi took to run 20 kilometers on Friday. Ab dekho, the thing is, his speed on Monday that he ran the final 8 kilometers was actually what? Was actually x minus 1.5. Okay. Now we need to make a decision. We need to make a decision that what value of x are we going to use to find out his actual speed on Monday. Okay. Am I going to use 11.56 or am I going to use 0.85? So that's a question for you guys. What am I going to use? Am I going to use 11.56 or am I going to use 0.85? 11.56, that's the correct answer. Why 11.56? Why will I use 11.56? Because if I end up using 0.85, then what will happen is 0.85 minus 1.5 will lead to a negative value, and speed, as we know, as we should know, can't be negative. So that means 11.56 minus 1.5, let's see what do we get. We get 10.06 in fact. Okay, so that means this is what his speed is equal to. Now time, as we know, is equal to what? Is equals to distance upon speed. The distance that he is running is 20. The speed at which he is running is 10.06. Okay, so if you work this out, here's what we get. 20 divided by 10.06, so that's equal to 1.988. Okay, 1.988. Now don't leave your answer over here, because if you read the question, it says give your answer in hours and minutes correct to the nearest minute. Okay. Now 1.988 से क्या मतलब है? 1.988 से मतलब ये है कि for sure it has one complete hour. Okay. And then it has another 0.988, which we're going to convert into minutes by simply multiplying by 60. And you can also use your calculator. You know that magic button in your calculator that I've made so many videos about? You can use that as well. Okay, but if you don't want to use that, then this is how you do it. If you take 0.988 and multiply it by 60, you get 59.28. So correct to the nearest minute, it's going to be 1 hour and 59 minutes. Okay, I made lots and lots of videos on calculator as to how you can use the magic key. Okay, so make sure to go over that. जो मेरी वो calculator वाली series है ना, जिसमें मैंने काफ़ी सारी videos बताई हैं, जिसमें मैंने काफ़ी सारी tricks बताएं, quadratic equation, simultaneous, time, fraction to decimal, mixed number, standard form and all that. Make sure to watch that. Okay, now let's do another question. अच्छा, इस question पे अभी आते हैं. First, I want to do this question. Okay. Sir, how do we know that we have to take common like you took 5? Okay, so you look at your answer and you look at the way the answer is given. Now, here you have 110 and you have 22. Now, what is it that you can do to 110 to turn it into 22? There's only one way, and that is by taking 5 common. Alright, so you take 5 common and that's it. You have your answer. Linear law stream. Linear law didn't come in paper 1, right? Yeah, so that means it can come in paper 2. Okay, we're talking about add maths over here. Math students, don't start freaking out. Okay, let's not worry about add maths at the moment. There's plenty of time till paper 2. So let's focus on what we're doing right now, and that is O-level math paper 2. Alright, all your queries, just hold on to them. Don't worry about them. I'll make a video on it. You'll find the answers, inshallah. Okay. If your paper didn't go too well today, it's okay. Nothing to worry about. Just focus on what we're doing right now. Now, here's a question which says the diagram shows a prism with a rectangular base of length 15 centimeter and width x centimeter. The cross section of the prism is a right angle triangle. Alright, the height of the prism is 4 less than its width. Now, if its width is x, and according to the question, if the height of the prism is 4 less than its width, that means the height is going to be equal to what? The height is going to be x minus 4. Alright, okay. And what else do you know? You know the volume of the prism to be equal to 440. Now, I hope you guys know the formula for calculating volume of a prism. It's area of cross section multiplied by length. Now, area of cross section basically means that we're finding out the area of the triangle, half into x minus 4, multiplied by the length of the prism, which is equal to 15, and that will give us the volume, which according to the question is equal to what? Is equal to 440. Okay, now, so let's see what we can do. X into x will be x square, alright, and then x into minus 4 will be minus 4x into upon 2 into 15 is equals to 440. Okay, so that means this is what we're looking at. 15x square minus 60x is equals to 880. Now let's shift everything over to the left hand side. 15x square minus 60x minus 880 equals to 0. So here we have 15x square, whereas in the equation we're supposed to end up with just 3x square. So does that mean that I've done something wrong? No, not at all. All I need to do is realize that I need to take something common. And what do I need to take common? I need to take 5 common. So if I take 5 common, that's going to be 3x square minus 12x minus 880 divided by 5. So that's 176. And then what happens to the 5? It disappears. 3x square minus 12x minus 176 equals to 0. And there you go. That's it. That's your answer. Yes, surface area of prism equals to 2c plus pl, where c is the area of cross section, p is the perimeter of cross section, l is the length of the prism. Okay. Okay, that was funny. Sir, how many marks worth of algebraic word problems comes in P2? Well, if you have a question, you can expect like a 8 to 11 mark question easily. So what the dotted line shows? It shows that it's 3D shape. Okay. Okay, now here's part B. Now again, you're supposed to solve this equation. So x equals to minus b minus minus 12 plus minus b square, that means minus 12 squared minus 4 into 3 into minus 176 divided by 2a, which means 2 into 3. Okay. Now let's see what do we get. अब यहाँ पे इस point पे I'm using a calculator. Okay, 3 minus 12 minus 176. So we're getting two values of x. One is 9.92. Again, read the question carefully. It says give your answer correct to 2 decimal places, and then minus 5.92. There you go. If we die during the exam, normally at this point I say, I don't know, let's find out, but I'm not going to say that. Okay. I hope you come back home safe and sound, inshallah. Okay, anyway. Now here's part C. Part C says find the height of the prism. So height of the prism is x minus 4. And as we know that we're definitely not going to go with the negative value. We're going to go with the positive value. So 9.92 minus 4. So 9.92 minus 4 kar lete hain. So the height is equals to 5.92. Okay, so can you do middle term breaking instead of quadratic equations? You mean instead of quadratic formula? Well, okay. So every time the question says giving your answer correct to 2 decimal places, that means it can't be done through middle term breaking. That's why it's asking you to give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. Normally, if you can do a question by middle term breaking, it won't say give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. Normally, either you'll get the answer as an integer or as a fraction. Okay. Where is your center? What do you mean, where is my center? I teach online entirely, beta. Okay, now here's part D. Okay, part D says a line is drawn on the surface of the prism from B to F. Another line is drawn on the surface of the prism from A to F. Calculate angle AFB. Now, this is not a word problem question, but चलो कर लेते हैं, थोड़ा trigonometry revise हो जाएगी. And you know, अगर कल एग्ज़ाम में आ गया तो आप लोगों का फ़ायदा हो जाएगा. Not that I know what's coming in the exam tomorrow, but I'm just saying. Okay, so it says a line is drawn on the surface of the prism from B to F. All right, so B to F, there you go. And then another line is drawn on the surface of the prism from A to F. Okay, there you go. Calculate angle AFB. Now, what kind of a triangle are we looking at? What kind of a triangle are we looking at? This is a 4-mark question, by the way. A right angle triangle, that is correct. Is base area of prism and area of cross section the same thing? Abhiha, dekho, I use this formula to calculate the volume of prism, area of cross section into length. Okay, the reason I don't prefer the formula base area into height is because in that case normally students think that जिस surface पे वो रखा हुआ है वो उसकी base है. नहीं, ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं होता. Go watch the mensuration stream, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay, I prefer to use this formula, area of cross section into length, not base area into height. Okay, if you're using the formula base area into height, remember the base area is basically the area of cross section and height is the length of the prism. Okay, or you can say height is the distance across the two identical faces. Okay, or distance across the two cross sections. Alright, now, so this is a right angle triangle. Okay, it's not an isosceles triangle, it's simply a right angle triangle. It's a right angle triangle such that you have one length which is the same as the height of the prism, which the question was kind enough to make us find out, 5.92. Okay, this is A, this is B, and this is F. Now the thing is, we need to find out AF before we can find out angle AFB. Okay, we need to find out length AF before we can find out this angle. Ab AF निकालने के लिए, what are we going to do? We're going to do x square plus 15 square. Thankfully, we've already worked out the value of x. So we're going to go with 9.92. So that means AF equals to square root of 9.92 squared plus 15 squared. Okay, yeah, you can say it's a scalene triangle, but it's a right triangle. Okay, the right angle triangle, that's what the emphasis should be on. Whether it's scalene, isosceles, and everything else is irrelevant. Okay, so now AF turns out to be 17.98, and because this is not a vector, abhi vectors padha hai to vector ki aadat ho gayi hai. AF is 17.98. all right, so here's 17.98. now this is enough information to calculate the angle AFB. Now what we're going to use is we're going to use tan theta is equals to opposite upon adjacent. So you work this out, see what do we get. Tan inverse of 5.92 divided by 17.98. Admath students, make sure that you guys reset your calculator. So the answer is 18.2 degrees. And there you go, fellas, that's your answer. So what are your thoughts on this question? Easy, medium, hard. Then let's do another question. Remember, all angles are given correct to one decimal place, okay? 2022 say 2017. Yeah, if you've been getting a good score consistently, then that's good enough. Okay. All right, now this is a good question. This also is a pretty good question. This is okay-ish. This is nice as well. Okay, so let's do another question. Let's do this one right here. Yeah. Sir, highest number of viewers. Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. Anyway, now here's question number 8. This is from October-November 2019, paper 2, variant 1. Okay. So it says rectangle ABCD has area 80 centimeters square. Okay. Triangle PCQ is removed. So have a look at PCQ. Here it is. From one corner of the rectangle, BQ is equals to DP, which is equal to 4 centimeter. All right, let's write that down. Here's 4 and here's 4. Okay. Then we have AB, which is equal to X. So let's write that down as well. That AB is equals to X centimeter. All right. Then it says write down an expression in terms of X for CP. Okay. So for CP, remember if AB is X, that means CD will also be X. Okay. And if CD is also X, that means CP can simply be worked out by doing X minus 4. Okay. So there you go. That's your answer. Then it says explain why CQ is 80 upon X minus 4. Okay. Now notice that you're told that area is equals to 80. That means AB times BC, it will give you the area which is equal to 80. AB you already know is equals to X. BC you don't know, so that's 80. So BC is equals to 80 minus X. Now CQ can be found by taking BC and from it subtracting 4, which means 80 upon X minus 4 is equals to CQ. And there you go. That's your answer. Then part C. Part C says show that the shaded area y centimeter square is given by so and so. Okay. Now again, the question is nice in the sense that it has made us do all the hard work. Now all we have to do is use what we have found already and prove a certain equation. Okay, have a look at the marks as well. This is a 3-mark question, so that means there is a decent amount of working required. So area of shaded region will be found by basically taking area of rectangle minus the area of triangle PCQ. Okay. Now as far as area of rectangle goes, that we already have, that's 80. As far as area of triangle PCQ goes, that is something we need to work out. So PC is X minus 4. This is 80 upon X minus 4. ऐसे है ना? Yeah. So area of triangle निकाल लेते हैं पहले. Half into X minus 4 into 80 upon X minus 4. Okay. Now let's simplify this. So X minus 4 upon 2 into इसकी LCM ले लेते हैं. So this is going to be X 80 minus 4X. Okay, 80 minus 4X upon X. In fact, no need to take the LCM actually. No need to take the LCM. Let's just let it be as it is. Okay. Let's just let the half be as it is. Okay. Yeah. So एक काम करते हैं. इस x को इससे multiply करते हैं. So 80 upon x into x will be 80. Okay. So I'm just expanding the bracket first. And then this when you multiply it by minus 4, so that's going to be equal to minus 4x. Okay. And then minus 4 into 80 will be minus 320 upon x. Okay. And then minus 4 into minus 4 will be plus 16. And then don't forget that you have a half waiting outside. Okay. Don't forget about that. Okay, then simplify inside the bracket. So if you simplify inside the bracket, that means you can do 80 plus 16, which is going to be equal to 96. So 96 minus 4x minus 320 upon x. Now there's nothing else you can do except that you can multiply it by half. Okay. Now half into 96 is going to be 48. Okay, and then half into minus 4x is going to be minus 2x, and then half into minus 320 is going to be minus 160 upon x. Alright, and then don't forget that this is something that we need to subtract from the area of rectangle, which was 80. Now if you do this correctly, this is what you end up with: 80 minus 48 plus 2x plus 160 upon x. So 80 minus 48 is 32. 32 plus 2x plus 160 upon x. There you go. This is the answer. Now, what are your thoughts about this? Easy, medium, hard? No, 80 won't be 80x. It's going to be 80 upon x. Discord पे server. I think I'll do that from next session onwards. Next session से inshallah I'll make a server on Discord as well. No, you're not supposed to write down the explanation in word form. Where does it say that? Your working is good enough. Let your working do all the talking. Sir, what formulas for surface area and volume should we memorize? Okay, Aiza, for that, just check the mensuration stream. In the description of the mensuration stream, you'll find a Dropbox folder. In the Dropbox folder, you will find a formula sheet, and in the formula sheet, you will find a list of formulas that you're not supposed to memorize. Okay, I've shared that quite a few times already. And where did 80 come from? 80 was the area of rectangle. 80 was the area of rectangle. Okay, it was given over here. Rectangle ABCD has area 80. That's where 80 came from. ठीक है? Trapezium का area. Trapezium तो नहीं है, if you think about it. 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5. It's a pentagon actually. You will have to break it into a rectangle and a trapezium and then add it up. That's what you're gonna have to do. No, don't do a yearly past paper. Please don't do a yearly past paper. Okay, now question number 9. Let's do question number 9. This is from October-November 2019, paper 2, variant 2. Okay. I'm expecting a question like similar triangles, similar triangles leading to word problems. Okay, but then that's me and I could be wrong. Okay, I could be totally wrong. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है that you guys start practicing those questions. I'm just expecting something like that. Slow mode on कर दूँ. Okay, let me do that. ठहरो. Okay, slow mode, 10 seconds, good enough? Okay, there you go. Alright, 10 seconds in fact, let me change it to 10 is too less. Let me change it to 30 seconds. है ना, थोड़ा सांस लेने का टाइम मिल जाएगा. Can you confirm that there is a paper tomorrow or not? Why not? I mean, ऐसी तो कोई न्यूज़ नहीं आया कि कल पेपर नहीं है. Okay, now, so here is question number 9, another question from October-November 2019, paper 2, variant 2. So it says here ABCD is a rectangle, okay, with AB 10 centimeter and AD 12 centimeter. All right. Then it says PQ is parallel to AB and RS is parallel to AD. So PQ is parallel to AB and RS is parallel to AD. Okay. Then it says BR is equals to DP, which is equal to X. So BR is equals to DP, which is equal to X. Okay, so that's very important information. Here's X, which is equal to DP, which is X. Okay, so that means this ends up being a square of X centimeter. Okay. So then it says AB is 10 centimeter. So let's write that down. AB is 10 centimeter. Here you go, 10 centimeter. Then it says AD is 12 centimeter. All right, so let's make a note of that as well, that AD is 12 centimeter. Okay. Then it says write down an expression in terms of x for AR. Okay, what's AR? AR is right over here. So AR we can tell is going to be 10 minus this length. So that means 10 minus x. So there you go. 10 minus x. Then AP. So AP is going to be equal to what? The entire length is 12. Okay, PD is x. So 12 minus x. 12 minus x. 12 minus x. Okay. Alright, now this is where it gets interesting. Area of shaded rectangle ARYP is to area of rectangle ABCD is to area of rectangle ABCD, okay, is equal to 3 upon 4. Alright, show that x square minus 22x plus 30 equals to 0. Okay, so area of triangle ARYP. For that, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do AR into AP, which means we're going to do 10 minus x into 12 minus x. Okay. So, इसको copy करते हैं और यहाँ पे paste कर देते हैं. ठीक है. Divided by the area of rectangle ABCD. Now, area of rectangle ABCD, we can work out the actual value because we have the actual lengths. So, AB is 10 and AD is 12. So, that means we can divide this by 120, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 3 upon 4. Okay. Now, we can cross multiply. So, 4 ones are 4. Let's see what is 120 divided by 4. That's equal to 30. Now, you cross multiply. While you cross multiply, expand this as well. So, 120 minus 10x minus 12x plus x square equals to 90. Get everything on the left hand side. So, x square as it is minus 22x. 120 minus 90 is equals to positive 30. So, there you go. Positive 30 equals to 0. No, stretch and shear is no more part of the syllabus. Camera is adjusting too much. Okay, I'll fix it. There you go. अब नहीं होगा. Okay. Sir, why 4 and 120 cancel? Simplify कर लिया ना. When you have an equals to sign in between, you can simplify across. Okay. Alright, then it says solve the equation. Again, very predictable. Solve the equation x square minus 22x plus 30 equals to 0. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do 2 is in fact 1 minus 22, 30. So x is equals to 20.54 and x is equals to 1.46. So 20.54 and 1.46 are your answers. ठीक है. मैंने थोड़ा टाइम बचाने के लिए डायरेक्ट कैलकुलेटर में कर दिया. Alright. Okay. Then it says find the total unshaded area in rectangle ABCD. Okay. Now there are two ways through which you can find out the total unshaded area. So I'm going to clean this up, take a picture of it and paste it here. Now either you can find out the area of the unshaded region and add it up. Okay. Working करेंगे, of course working करेंगे. I just didn't do it to save some time. Minus 22 plus minus square root of b square, which means minus 22 square minus 4 into 1 into c divided by 2 into 1. Okay, and then you can write down your final answer. Alright. Okay, so as I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, so in order to find out the total area of the unshaded region, you can either find out the area of the unshaded regions and then add them up, or you can find out the total area, which we don't really have to work hard for, and then from it subtract the area of the shaded regions. Okay, that's what I would prefer actually. I would prefer that you, or maybe not actually. Let me think. Okay, this is quite undecisive to be honest. Yeah, in fact, you know what? Change of plans. I'm going to find out the area of the unshaded region. Why? Because we know that this is x. We know this is 12 minus x. And we know that this is x, and we know that this is 10 minus x. Yeah, that's much better. Let me confirm the lengths. Yeah. So area of this unshaded region, let's call it A1, is going to be x into 12 minus x. And the area of this unshaded region is going to be x into 10 minus x. Now, I would suggest that you keep everything in terms of x till you get to the very last expression, okay, until you've simplified everything. So 12x minus x square plus 10x minus x square. So 12x plus 10x is going to be 22x minus 2x square. In it, plug in the value of x, the suitable value of x. Achha, by the way, what value of x is suitable over here? Considering that we have two values of x, 20.54 and 1.46, what value of x are we going to go with? Are we going to go with 20.54 or are we going to go with x equals to 1.56? 1.46 actually. Question for you guys. Why did you divide it by 120? What did I divide by 120? Okay, that's correct. We will go with 1.46. Why not? Don't we always go with the greatest value? Okay, we're not going to go with 20.54. We're going to go with 1.46. My question is why? Why are we going to go with 1.46 and not 20.54? $20.54 out of bounds because area required is small. Nope. That's not why we're going with 1.46. Sir is... Yes. कौन था ये? Hamza. Good job, Hamza. And Hassan and everyone else. So basically, देखो, one length is 10 minus x and the other length is 12 minus x. If I take x to be 20.54, then these lengths end up being negative. Okay? So yeah, that's why we're going with 1.46. So let's plug in 1.46, 22 into 1.46 minus 2 into 1.46, the whole thing square. Okay, not because it's way too big, okay? That's not a logical reason. It's just that it makes it doesn't make sense mathematically to have a negative length. Okay, so the final answer is 27.8568. So we're going to go with 27. Well, let's write down 27.8568. So we will go with 27.9. There you go. That's the answer. Maghrib break? Nope, it's not Maghrib yet. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll not give you guys a break. We'll just end the stream early. Okay? मैं stream ही जल्दी end कर दूंगा because I don't want you guys studying for too long. Just go to sleep. Okay. अच्छा ये वही चीज़ repeat हो गया. Let me delete this. Alright, let me do another difficult question. चलो ये करते हैं. स्ट्रीम आफ्टर नमाज टिलेशा नहीं भाई क्या हो गया नॉट एट ऑल रिकमेंडेड बस ये दो टॉपिक्स पे मैंने इसलिए स्ट्रीम किए बिकॉज वेल यू गाइस रिक्वेस्टेड एंड बिकॉज दीज टू टॉपिक्स आर वेरी दे आर हाईली एक्सपेक्टेड टू कम इन पेपर टू दैट्स द रीज़न बिहाइंड मी स्ट्रीमिंग दीज टू टॉपिक्स ओके All right, now here's question number 8. Let's see what this says. It says Laura and Marco each cycle 50 kilometers on a cycle trail. Laura cycles at an average speed of x kilometers per hour. Marco cycles at an average speed of x minus 3 kilometers per hour. Write down an expression for it. Acha, by the way, this is a very recent question. It's October, November 2022, paper 2, variant 1. Okay, so make a note of that. It's fairly recent. Okay, let's see what it says. It says write down an expression for time in hours. All right, Laura takes to complete the trail. Okay, so let's write down the information for Laura. The distance that she's cycling is 50. Okay, in fact, both the distances 50. Okay, and the time that she takes is what we need to find out. The speed, however, at which she's cycling is 50. Okay, so what's time equal to? Time, as we know, is equals to distance upon speed. So that means time is equals to 50 upon x. All right. Then comes part B. Part B says Marco takes 15 minutes longer than Laura to complete the trail. Okay. So अगर हम Marco का time लिखेंगे, so time again is equals to distance upon speed. Okay. Now the distance that Marco is cycling is 50, but his speed is x minus 3. So that means the time that Marco takes is 50 over x minus 3, and the time that Laura takes is 50 upon x. All right. Acha. Then here's what the question says. The question says Marco takes 15 minutes longer than Laura to complete the trail. Ab dekho kya, what's the keyword here? The keyword here is longer. And again, be careful that that all the time so far you've worked out in hours, and this here is in minutes. Okay. Now, so the time that Marco takes is 15 minutes longer. That means plus 15 compared to the time that Laura takes. Okay. So the time that Marco takes is 15 minutes longer than the time that Laura takes. Okay. Now be careful about one thing over here. In fact, you guys tell me if I'm doing this correctly. So the time that Marco takes is 50 upon x minus 3. The time that Laura takes is 50 upon x plus 15. Now tell me, is this correct, or am I doing something wrong here? Yes, you need to convert it into hours. Okay. So what are you going to do? You're going to convert this into hours. How? By dividing it by 60. Okay. Now, 50 upon x minus 3 equals to 50 upon x plus 1 upon 4. Okay. Now what are you going to do? You're going to get everything on the left hand side. Basically, you'll take LCM and cross multiply. Okay. Now this isn't right. You have to make sure that you convert 15 into minutes. So in fact, pure question mein catch hi hai ye. Now the LCM of x and 4 is going to be 4x. Here we have x minus 3. Okay. So 50 as it is. This gets multiplied by 4. So this also gets multiplied by 4. So that's going to be 200. This gets multiplied by x, and this also gets multiplied by x. So that's plus x. Okay. Now we cross multiply. So we have 200x, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 200 plus x into x minus 3. Okay. So start expanding this. 200x is equals to 200x minus 600 plus x square minus 3x. Okay. So 200x and 200x gets cancelled out, and that's it. You're done. Just need to rearrange it and write it as x square minus 3x minus 600 equals to 0. There you go. Can we do Marco time minus 15? No, you can't do that, because the time that Marco takes is 15 less than the time that Laura takes. All right. नहीं ऐसे नहीं करेंगे. देखो मेरी बात सुनो. If the question says that A is 5 less than B, then what are you going to do? You're going to say A is 5 less का मतलब 5 less than B. A B से 5 कम है, so that means B में 5 माइनस करेंगे तो वो A के बराबर आएगा. So that means if Marco is taking less time, then only when you add 15 to Laura's time will it be equal to Marco's time. Just like that, if let's say the question said that P is 3 more than Q. So what does that mean? That means P is 3 more means plus 3. 3 more than what? 3 more than Q. There you go. Yeah, you can do that as well. Okay. That also you can do, that you can convert both the times into minutes and then solve. Okay, ये भी कर सकते हैं. You can convert all these times to minutes and then solve the question. Okay, now reason for using equal, what do you mean? Because it says is. Okay. Anyway, चलो इस question को complete करते हैं, फिर let's end it. So x square minus 3x minus 600 equals to 0. Alright. Now let's solve this and see what do we get. 1 minus 3 minus 600. Again, I'm saving some time and solving it directly in the calculator. So we get 26.04 and the other value is minus 23.04. Okay. Achha. Then it says find the time Marco takes to complete the trail. Give your answer in hours and minutes correct to the nearest minute. Okay. So the time that Marco takes is over here, 50 over x minus 3. So 50 over x minus 3. Now what value of x are we going to go with? We're going to go with the positive value. Okay, so we're going to go with 26.04. So 50 over 26.04 minus 3 is the time that he takes. Okay, so let's work this out. 50 over 26.04 minus 3. So we get time is equals to 2.17 hours. Again, remember that you need to give your answer correct to the nearest minute. So इसमें से separate the 2 hours and you have 0.17 which you need to convert into minutes. So you can do that by multiplying by 60. So you get 10.2 something, 2 hours and 10.2 minutes. So that means 2 hours and 10 minutes is the final answer. ठीक है? So there you go. That's it. That's your answer. Okay, so that's it. I will stop here. Again, best of luck to you guys for tomorrow. I'll make a detailed video, a detailed good luck and like tips and tricks video. But again, you'll find nothing in that video that I haven't said already. So just make sure that you guys get a good night's sleep. Alright, get a good night's sleep. Make sure you have everything with you, in the sense all the stationery, all the you have a functioning calculator. If you have 2 calculators, that's great. If you don't, that's okay. Remember, whatever it is that you can check using your calculator, you check that. Like simultaneous equations, quadratic equations, mostly that. Okay. And just read the question carefully. Very, very important. Don't panic. Do the easier questions first. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, I'll make a detailed video on this. Yes, you will find this video. Okay, this video will be uploaded. Don't worry about it. Okay, so that's it. Yes, fx991ex is allowed. Okay. So remember me in your prayers and I'll remember you guys as well. Make sure you guys say your prayers before you go for the exam. Also very important. And no, don't do any early past papers. Don't put yourself in a situation where you end up testing yourself. Not at all recommended. So math students, this is the last stream, and there's one thing that I always say to my students, and that is I hope you guys took more than just math concepts from this stream. And I'll say that to you guys as well. For AdMath students, well, there will be plenty of streams inshallah for you guys up until the exam. Okay? So take care. Enjoy tomorrow's paper. Okay? Make sure to enjoy it. And let me know how it goes. I'll make a video. So let me know how it goes. So take care everyone. Allah Hafiz.